Hello guys, thank you for the time that has been given to me. Today I will present of my research. The title of my research is The Use of Language Experience Approach in Teaching Reading to Young Learners. The use of language experience approach in teaching reading to young learners. Let's see. We start from background of the problem. English is international language is used in many countries as a meaning of communication, and it has a great function in many aspects of life such as in politics, business, trade and diplomatic relationship. Reading plays an important role in learning of foreign language. Reading is one of the language skills, listening, reading, writing and speaking, which is important to be learned and mastered by every individual. Teaching reading for young learners is not easy thing because teachers have certain abilities and strategy in delivering the message from the text to the student. There are some reasons of using language experience approach as an alternative teaching reading method for young learners. Stafford 1917 said that first, it supports developmentally appropriate instruction for children. The second one, it supports balanced instruction that includes the reading writing of authentic text together with explicit strategy instruction. Third, it fosters integrated learning. The last, it combines all the components of the teaching learning. In helping young learners to understand the text, the teacher can facilitate them to make the passage concrete or tangible for them. The teacher can give experience for them so they understand of what is the context, what is the content of the text. The way of young learners think and absorb the learning process is absolutely different with adults. So the teacher needs to find a way of how to attract their interest, how the teaching reading is enjoyable for them, and to make the passage concrete for them so they can understand the text. Now we are going identification of the problem. The problem of this research were identified as being related to the process of teaching reading comprehension could not run well, and the student low motivation. The student lacked confidence in reading something, and the lack of vocabulary mastery by students as the result they are lazy and do not understand to read the text given by the teacher. The students were passive in the class and the approach of teaching is not suitable to the student condition. Next, limitation of the problem. In this research, there are two terms that serve as the limitation of the problems. First, this research focuses on investigating and describing the teaching and learning English in reading to young learners. Second, it is specific only to describe the implementation of language experience approach in teaching reading that is experienced by the teacher and student in the classroom. Formulation of the problem. The problem of this study is formulated in the following question. How does the teacher teach reading to young learners by using language experience approach? And the second one, what are the student responses toward their experience in learning with language experience approach? This is formulation of the problem. Now, objective of the problem. In relation to the problem statement above, the objective of this research are find out how language experience approach helps students improve their reading, motivation, and comprehension. Find out teacher response toward the use of language experience approach in teaching reading for young learners. Find out student response toward the use of language experience approach in teaching reading for young learners. Significance of the problem. This research is significant because it enriches research on the use of language experience approach as an alternative method in teaching reading. Moreover, this study is expected to provide theoretical, practical, and professional advantages of language experience approach in English learning. Now we are going to chapter 2, the is literature review. Verse 1, theoretical review. In this case, it provides some terms which are important to make clear from the start in order to prevent possible misunderstanding between the researcher and the reader. Between these convey and will have the same perception of their. The nature of young learners. Young learners are terms for students who are not adult yet. Sin stated young learners are 7 to 12 years old and less than 7 years old belongs to a very young learner. Usually, young learners in this age seem less embarrassed than adults at talking in a new language. It means these young learners are brave to use the target language by imitating the words that have been spoken by adults. According to Harmer, the way of young learner is not enough by just giving explanation. They also need to see and hear and prominently have a sense to touch and interact with it. Young learner cognitive development. According to Piaget, the process of how young learners learn goes through the pattern and development stage based on their age. They are sensory motor stage, birth 2 years old, pre-operational stage 2 through until 7 years old, concrete operational stage uh, 2 until 7 years old, and formal operational stage 12 until 15 years old. Teaching reading to young learners. Definition of reading. Reading is an activity of the reader to get information from what they are read. Furthermore, reading is not only an activity to read a text but also the process of the reader to build meaning based on the context of the text related their reading experience and background knowledge. According to Maxim, reading underpins the skill learners attain in speaking, listening, and writing. It is supported by Harker that say reading is a communication process closely related to the learning and development of other language processes, writing, speaking, and listening. Thus, every skill is relevant to teach to each other. According to Hermer, reading is not a passive skill, which is means just read the text. The readers need to understand the sentences mean. They need to know what the text is intended to convey. In teaching reading for young learners, as for foreign language learners, young learners will find difficulties in reading English text, which means understand the text they read. Therefore, the teacher should use young learners' experience as the material of their reading to engage them with the text. Approach in teaching reading. An approach is a set of correlative assumptions dealing with the nature of language teaching and learning. According to Richard and Roger, approach refers to theory about the nature of language learning that serves as the source of practice and principles in language teaching. An approach describes how acquire their knowledge of his language and makes the statements about the condition which will promote successful in language learning. The concept of language experience approach. The language experience approach is a literacy development method that has long been used for early reading development with the first language learners. It also perfect for the first classroom. According to Marcia Taylor, the language experience approach is a whole language approach that promotes reading and writing through the use of personal experience and oral language. It can be used in tutorial and classroom setting with homogeneous or heterogeneous groups of learners. The procedure of language experience approach in the class. The teacher and the student discuss an experience in which all have recently participated. A student formulate and express their ideas, and the last one, the teacher reads the account to the student. The characteristic of language experience approach. The characteristic of language experience approach are all communication skills such as reading, writing, language, and skill are integrated. Difficult of vocabulary and grammar are determined by the learner's own language use. Learning and teaching are personalized, communicative, and creative by language experience approach. Students are able to improve their ability in learning, especially reading. Concept, Conceptual framework. The study is focused on the effect of language experience approach on the teaching of reading young learners based on the previous elaboration on the theoretical framework. Language experience approach is an approach of reading instruction based on activities and story developed from personal experience of the learner. Students are involved in planning, experiencing, responding to and reading experience and participating in activity of class. Now let's come chapter 3, that is research method. This research employ an exploratory qualitative research design using the main instrument to collect data by observing the natural setting of classroom interaction. Research design. This research conducted by using qualitative research design. Qualitative research is the collection, analysis, and interpretation of comprehensive narrative and visual, non-numerical data to gain insight into a particular phenomenon of interest. Data collection techniques. In collecting the data, several techniques were employed as follows: observation, interview, and questionnaire. Observation was used in this research as it possible to record behavior as it happening. Data from observation were obtained from researchers while not before and during application of language experience approach. An um, interview sessions were conducted with different response in different times, and questionnaire were administered to acquire additional information related to teacher and student. Data analysis. Data analysis is this section present the data analysis procedure that are performed on the collected data in order to answer the research question. Technique of data analysis, they are interview transcript. That is, an interview transcript is a written record of a completed oral interview. The interview transcription process documents a conversation between two or more people. This process can be done in real time from an audio or video recording. And the second one is observation. Observation notes should be brief, but as much as possible they should provide the teacher and outside readers a complete description of the incident or behavior that the teacher considered significant. And the last one, document review. Document review is a way of collecting data by reviewing existing documents. Okay, that's all of my research. Thank you for attention.